quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of your questions. Now, as a young and up and coming new thoughter and religious scientist, I took that to heart and I thought, wow, okay, let's let's see how that works in life. Let's see what we can do with that. It was Ernest Holmes, or we at least credit him with saying, change your thinking, change your life. What if we change our questions? What if I change the questions that I'm asking? Now, interestingly enough, at about the same time, I was becoming very deeply involved, or had been already actually, deeply involved in the life visioning process. Life visioning is brought forward by Michael Beckwith into the UCRS environment many, many years ago, before we were even United Centers for Spiritual Living. Way that back when, I had the opportunity to study with now Reverend Dr. Cynthia James and explore the visioning process. Truthfully, if I trace it back as far as I can, it was only about 6 to 8 weeks after I first walked into a religious science church that I was introduced to the visioning process and the power of a good question. Well, the work we do also, if I think about it here a little deeper, what is a practitioner other than someone that asks really good questions? Really good open-ended questions, questions that give us an opportunity to reflect upon our lives, our work, what it is we're doing with our families, where we get to express our greatness. Over all these years, the visioning process has not only been a staple of my personal spiritual practice, it's been a staple of my unique expression of this teaching. And I personally believe that is the natural evolution of the science of mind. Many of us come in the door feeling rather broken, perhaps abused or hurt. I've heard countless stories over the years of people that spent their first 4 weeks in a religious science church at the back of the room crying. We each come to the philosophy and the teaching in our own way, and the path forward eventually tends to come together. I once created a meditation that you can still find out on YouTube and stuff. It's called the Golden Orb of Oneness. And in this meditation, we envisioned lines and beams of energy that coalesced and eventually converged into a giant ball of white and golden light that represents our oneness. And from that oneness, we eventually radiate back out into our lives. So imagine, if you will, your journey thus far in this philosophy. Whether today is the first day you have ever heard this and you stumbled into some Zoom room and you have no idea where you are or what we're talking about, or whether you sit with Reverend Barbara on a regular basis discussing the finer points of this philosophy. We all are emanations of the oneness. And so we all, on occasion, take time to return to that oneness and refuel and reverberate, reinvigorate, rejuvenate, so that we can bring this oneness back out into the world once again. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. Vision 2025 and beyond. How do we take the oneness out into the world? Now, along my journey, and I recognize not only is my journey unique, but your journey is unique. And there are pieces and parts of your journey from the day you first found this philosophy through to what you are doing now and out into the future of what you envision for your contribution, your participation, your role to play in all this. Along the way, I found myself exploring other organizations and other aspects of what is known as New Thought. And I don't want to get into a comparison of, oh, this organization is a little more of this, and this organization is a little more of that, and this organization is the history of New Thought, and this organization represents the future of New Thought. What I've come to recognize is we are all New Thought. And the vision, if we listen to our philosophy, the vision, what's happening today, what might be happening tomorrow, the vision of our future is truly built upon the consciousness of our past. Where we're going is where we've already been in consciousness. Thanks to some amazing twists of the cosmic fate, let's call it. The oneness has put me into some really unique situations and some really unique conversations since, well, it really started before the pandemic. And I can go all the way back to when I was in ministerial school, and I can look at visioning notes that point directly at the experiences and the various aspects of ministry that I am living today. It's all there. It's all in the books. It's all in the notes from over the years. The proof has already been revealed. Our future is right there. Now, yes, we still live in the human paradigm. We still live in a place where our immediate daily choices do affect our daily lives. And we do still have the choice that can change that vision, that can deny that vision, that can try to hide from the vision of who we are and what we've come here to do. Part of the beauty for me in all this is that you can try to hide. But even in the hiding, it is revealed to us that we already know the truth. And once we know the truth, we really can't deny the truth. Dr. Ernest Holmes said in The Science of Mind textbook, to desert the truth in the hour of need is to prove that we have never known the truth to begin with. When things look the darkest, that is the supreme time to do this work, to prove to ourselves that this stuff works. It was the great Johnny Coleman out of Chicago that said, this stuff works if you work it. You know, I have a vision for 2025. Thousands of people that are actually working it. Because if I start counting up all the people the places that I see New Thought represented in the world, expressing itself in the world, we are a major voting bloc, even in Canada. Sorry, you can yell at me about that later in the after when we chat. I promised myself I wasn't going to make a Canada joke. I owe you. I'm sorry. You can jab me for it later. If I look around, New Thought is a major voice. In 2023, New Thought went to the Parliament of the World Religions. Now, this is nothing all that different. Truthfully, the New Thought movement has been represented at every Parliament of the World Religions for, I believe it's the last 20, 30 some odd years. My understanding is we started going before I found New Thought, and that was in 2001. And so for at least 25, 30 years, we've been going to the Parliament. I had the chance to go last year, now 2 years ago, 2023. And in that, a vision had already taken hold and a conversation had already begun about what it would look like if all of the various New Thought organizations showed up as one. I mean, we teach it as one, right? And at that event in Chicago, we had 12, 12 trade show style booths. But rather than the traditional, you get six here and you get six here, and we turned everything open and we created a little village of New Thought organizations. So you could move amongst the groups. And Agape was there, and Centers for Spiritual Living was there, and World Unity Worldwide was there, and smaller groups like the People for African Descent New Thought Group was there, and other organizations like the International New Thought Alliance and the affiliated New Thought Network, myself, New Thought Media Network. We had a conglomeration, a group of these individuals and organizations that were leading the New Thought movement. And we looked around and we said, wow, what if we all started like doing stuff like this together more? And a vision was born. Okay, not born, was realized. A vision, it was something we woke into. I'm also on a personal mission to reclaim the word woke and proud. Say it. If we work together as one, imagine the good that can come from that. If we stop arguing about our identity and we remember that every expression that leads to every version of New Thought leads to a perfect expression of the divine, how much more energy would we have for creating a world that works better for everyone, a world that works for all. And over time, this conversation has progressed. There is now a monthly meeting of all of the leaders of all of the major New Thought groups that we can convince to get on this phone call. AGNT, ANTN, INTA, CSL, Unity, Divine Science International, Divine Science Ministers Association, the Universal Foundation for Better Living, Hillside Church of Religious Science, Agape Center, on and on. And these leaders are invited to come together and pray on a once a month basis. I am so blessed to be invited into that conversation, to have been invited into that group of people, to pray and then witness the demonstration of the practice in my ministry and in their ministries and in all the various ministries that they are ministering to and all the various people that they are ministering to. Again, we have a big voice, folks. And when you know it, just this year, just a couple of weeks ago, a New Thought minister was named as the president of the Parliament of the World Religions. So not only are we a major voice in the organization that is entrusted to voice the world's religions, but we got somebody sitting at, but our guy, our girl, sorry, excuse me, one of the leading minds in New Thought sits at the head of the table and is helping that organization move forward. You'll hear more about them in the years to come. You can find more about them right now. All these organizations are coming together. And so I have a vision that we can come together as we eliminate, as we blur the lines of the false belief in denominationalism in New Thought. As we blur the lines and come to a place where I was taught In religious science, we envision a world where borders are irrelevant. Well, if borders are irrelevant, I'm pretty sure separation of organizations within the New Thought movement is equally as irrelevant. I know Reverend Barbara has this in her heart. I know this is in the heart of organizations all across not just North America, but Europe and South America and Africa as well. I envision a day where each of us, underneath our name, our moniker, our logo, there's a little thing that says a New Thought community. So no one has to lose their identity or their culture or their history. I love what unity brings to the world. I love what divine science brings to the world. I love what religious science brings to the world. And I love what agape brings to the world too. And so many more. If we all let people know we are New Thought. CSL on the Lake, a New Thought community. Unity of Kitchener, a New Thought community. Unity of Anywhere, a New Thought community. Agape, a New Thought community. Hillside, a New Thought community. We are New Thought, the people. And I venture to say that every one of us has the heart of a minister. Every one of us has the heart of a minister. Some are not called to do the work, and that's okay. But we have that heart of serving those around us, of helping those around us. And once we have found New Thought, well, we can't deny it. Can't pretend it's not real. So we might as well live it. Create an environment around us. Create a way of life. We are New Thought. And I have a vision that in 2025, we do awaken to that truth in a greater way. That all over this planet, people awaken to the truth of who they are as unique, individual, never to be repeated, and absolutely vital expressions of God, of the divine, of however you want to say it. Call it Buddha or Brahma or Allah or Vishnu or Kuan Yin or Source Energy, Divine Mother, Gaia, Father Time. Call it George. The power of the oneness is revealing itself as you. And it was Ernest that said, we each may become a revealer of truth as we live in a close contact with the indwelling one, the indwelling presence, the indwelling truth. So the call today, each one of us is called. Everyone, whether they can hear it or not, whether we accept it or not, whether we embrace it or not, we are called to be a living example of this philosophy, to raise the vibe in 2025. That's what we're doing. Raising the vibe in 2025. We're not buying into the lack. We're not buying into the limitation. We're not buying into the crazy theories. We're not buying into the conspiracies. We're not buying in to all of that BS. You've all been around a while. You know that BS stands for belief system. We're not buying into the BS anymore. We are New Thought. And I look forward to connecting with you, seeing you, dancing with you, singing with you, not on stage though, singing with you along the journey. If you're in a safe place to close your eyes, I invite you to please do so. Join me in that place of knowing that there is one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence that's moving and breathing and having its being as all of life. That one self-existing cause that is forever taking on form and abandoning that form in order to take on new form. The one, call it by any name, imagine it by any image, and the truth remains the same. The truth remains the truth. There is one power. It is expressing itself as your life right now perfectly. There is nothing missing, nothing absent, nothing broken in your life. There is the continuation of life. There is the expression of life pouring forth as you, as only you can be. For you are a unique emanation of this divine oneness. You are a way that God shows up in the world unlike any other way. And therefore, who you are is vital. Who you are, how you say it, how you teach it, how you share it, how you live this philosophy is absolutely vital to the evolution of human consciousness. And we know that consciousness comes before form. Creating a world that works for all requires a consciousness that this is already happening, that this is already so. This is not something we got to wait for. This is not something we got to hope and pray for. This is something we affirm. This is something we know. We go forth day by day, moment by moment, hour by hour, expressing the truth of the divine in all that we do, all that we say, all that we are. From finding a spot in the parking lot to waiting in line in the grocery store. From those high exalted moments in spiritual community to those deep questions of what is mine to do in all this? The very center of it, there is God, there is the one, and that oneness is nudging, urging you, calling you to your greatness, to that unique gift that only you can give. So I invite each one that may hear this word into a sacred covenant with the divine, a sacred yes, a way of saying, yes, I shall serve. Yes, I shall show up. Yes, I shall be me. I shall be love. I shall be loved. Yes, I know the divine is right here as close as the very next breath, and I am revealing truth as I live in close contact with that indwelling spirit. So let the truth be revealed. Say yes to the truth revealing itself as your life. Wow. And witness that vision. And recognize there are the steps of 2025, but all that leads to the beyond. We say yes to today's vision, knowing the beyond, the vision expands and grows, just as we grow and expand into this life and what comes beyond. The great sense of gratitude for the revelation of this truth, that I release this word into the law, the universal law that must take this word and demonstrate, that cannot return this word void, that cannot say no thank you, that must take this prayer, must take this belief, must take this word and demonstrate. So I invite you to join me as we get behind that with a grateful heart, releasing this word into that law and letting it be. And if any of this has resonated in any way, please join me in an affirmation of truth as we say together. And so it is.